To the second baseman, Cano. The Yankees are back on top. World champions for the 27th time. Who settles under this ball, but then drops it. Nobody at first. Incredible. What are you doing?
I've come to a point in my career where winning is the most important thing.
The promise is a cutoff man. Shot into the plate. Out of the plate.
In a way that the Yankees were like disrespectful to the game of baseball.
Out of the game, there's a fly ball deep to left. It's on its way. There it goes. And the Yankees are going to the World Series.
Here he comes on the run. And now fisticuffs.
To have an opportunity to win and win big, hopefully in October.
Welcome back, citizens of New York. We are here again with the franchise mode commentary with your New York Yankees here in year one at a pivotal trade deadline, trying to secure a playoff spot and perhaps a top seed in the AL to get that first round bye. Pretty important year trying to get back to the World Series and win a World Series for the first time in quite a while here in New York. As we take a look at some of the standings here, you know, we're at the top of the division, very solid record at 64-46. But the rest of the AL is actually just as competitive. You look at the Royals, similar record to ours. The Twins aren't far off. Neither are the Guardians. The Rangers and Astros both there. So it's going to be a dogfight for that wild card race, as well as some of the divisional leaders there. So we have to keep our foot on the gas pedal and really do everything we can to ensure this team is going to have a strong end to the season, as well as being in a World Series contending window. And when we left off this video last time, we had looked at getting a strong lefty reliever, some additional bullpen help there, as well as maybe some additions there at first base, and maybe the outfield. As we look at our lineup, we're really truly missing that leadoff guy. Volpe's been hitting there for most of the year, but in a World Series, do we really want Anthony Volpe leading off or in the playoffs, really? Not a knock on him. He certainly will probably develop into that for us, but we'd really like to have a better contact OBP guy, similar numbers to what Cody Bellinger has been doing this year, hitting around 300 with a 360 OBP. His power numbers are just too good to put him in the leadoff spot alone. So he's been hitting so well in the 2-hole. Why break that up, right? So trying to find a better leadoff guy, whether that comes in first base or third base or left field. Jason Dominguez is going to be a future star for this team or for another team, wherever that may be. He's only 21 years old, but his numbers, you need a little bit more from that position when you're going into the playoffs. And I think we found a trade that works to upgrade all these positions that we talked about and really put us in contention to truly win a World Series when you look at this team. In my opinion, looking at this roster, there are holes. There's Austin Shenton's going to be coming back. He can play third or first base, and he was crushing it. So we have no worries there. But, you know, a corner infielder to help complement that, and then a left fielder would really help deepen this lineup. You get to the back half here, and you're really not as threatened as the likes of which when you look at the Dodgers, right? You think about what they have over there in L.A., Tommy Edman, Gavin Lux, you know, that speed contact, but then Mookie, Shohei, Max Muncy, Will Smith, Freddie Freeman's hitting 7th for them. I mean, look at how deep this lineup goes. Teoscar's hitting 8th, right? It is so deep, so many stars around that team that they can really mix and match with anybody, and that's what I was brought in here to do as the GM, is to make some big-time trades, maybe some unpopular ones, but the goal is to win a World Series, and that is what we are going after this year. You never know how long these windows are. Garrett Cole, Aaron Judge, Max Fried, these guys aren't getting any younger, right? And we have a star-studded roster this year. Why not add to it to put it in its best position it can to win a World Series? So that leaves us with our first trade, one of two trades that we are making. And the first one is going to be with the Detroit Tigers, a team that added Walker Buehler in the offseason. Pretty decent roster, but they're not in a playoff spot. They're towards the bottom of the AL. They're definitely looking to trade some pieces away and retool for next year. And you can see some of the positions of need there for them: catcher, infield, center field. We have exactly what they are after in that. So before I get to what we're getting back from Detroit, first piece we're giving away is Ben Rice. He's 25 years old, B potential. He's having a great year in AAA, no doubt helping them out. Controllable for quite a while still, up until 2030, right? So great contract there, great player to grow. But he's very similar to Austin Wells in terms of his, ability. Not the best defensive catcher, more of an offensive guy. Maybe his ceiling's even a little bit higher in that way. But Austin Wells is a year younger. He's a little bit overall better, and he's just been on the major league roster. So we basically have two catchers that are exactly the same. There's no reason to hold on to both of them. So Ben Rice is going to go in this deal over to Detroit, as they are in desperate need of a catcher to build around in the future. So we'll give them Ben Rice. Also going over there is Oswaldo Cabrera. We talked about trading him earlier this year. A decent player. I mean, he's going to give you Gold Glove caliber defense no matter where he plays, and he can play anywhere essentially for them. So that's a great versatile piece for them, and he's also controllable for the next 3 years for them. Switch hitter, so it's going to fit in well for what Detroit's doing over there. And then the next big piece is Jason Dominguez. Like I said, this guy's ceiling is very high. This trade might come back to bite us in the future, but we're focused on this year and right now, and the 2-3 years that are going to come. Jason Dominguez is going to become an all-star caliber left fielder, outfielder, no matter what position it is. But he just isn't there right now, and we are in a right now window. So holding on to someone like him might hurt us down or this year, where it would help us down the line. So we are sending him over to Detroit as well. Now, you might look at that and be like, who the heck are we going to get in return to make that even an okay trade in my mind? First one is Tyler Holton. We are in the need for a star-studded lefty reliever that we can turn to in the bullpen. He's not having the best year. It's not a horrible year either. Sometimes the relievers' ERAs get blown up because they have one or two bad innings, so I'm not going to worry about that too much. But I do like his stats all around the board. I think he's going to be very capable, and he's controllable for the next 3 years. So we have a guy that we can utilize in the bullpen in the years to come in Tyler Holton. We're also going to be grabbing Alex Lang. We needed another right-handed pitcher. We have Devin Williams. We have Luke Weaver. But outside of that, we are kind of lacking, another guy to punch the ticket in the playoffs, and a guy who's been experienced in high-leverage situations. And similar to Tyler Holton, he's also controllable for the next 2 years. I know his walks are really low. That sometimes can be a problem in the playoffs, but with that hits and Ks and home runs, pitching clutch, I really like what he can bring to this team as far as relievers go. And then the next piece to push this over the top is outfielder Riley Green. Basically swapping him, upgrading on Jason Dominguez to Riley Green. And you might think, why would Detroit want to give up on Riley Green? Well, the thing is, he's only controllable for the next 3 years. So he's very similar to Tyler Holton and Alex Lang, kind of in that window right there. And Detroit, they might want to hold on to someone like Riley Green, but they're getting someone who's just as capable defensively. He's faster than Riley Green. He brings more speed, and he's just a couple years behind where Riley Green is offensively. The power numbers are similar. The contact numbers definitely favor Riley Green in terms of his on base, and that's exactly what we need on this team, is a contact on-base guy who can hit at the top of the lineup for us, really solidify that leadoff spot, and be a game changer for us. And he's going to ask for the world when he becomes a free agent, but like I said, it's about this year and the next 2-3 years to come. Riley Green fits that window perfectly for us, can play any of the outfield positions, and is a perfect fit for what we need. So this is an absolute blockbuster of a trade. I personally think it's pretty even on both sides. You might give the slight lean to us with the Yankees and the return we're getting because we're getting the best player in the deal in Riley Green. But I don't think we're hurting Detroit by any means. They're definitely interested in it. It solves a lot of needs for them, and it gives them a ton of young talent to replace what they're losing there. So I'm going to go through with this trade. A big one here for New York. Welcome Riley Green, Alex Lang, and Tyler Holton to the Bronx. Boom, there it is. It is done. It is over. That trade is behind us. So now we have the next big deal to get done. And I say big, it's not as big as that one. But when we were looking at where we're going to upgrade as well, third base, and if I can say his name, Eugenio Suarez, power hitting third baseman, gives you great defense over there in the hot corner, an area that we didn't care about at the start of the season, but now we're getting into the postseason. We want to have stability over there at third base and allow our pitching staff to pitch well. He's on an expiring deal, so it works out. We're not tied down to any contract after this year. And we mentioned Austin Shenton projects to be a future first baseman for us, and he's coming back from injury in about a week. So we can easily shift him over to first base. That helps out our defense all around across the infield, and plugging in Eugenio Suarez in there at third base. And because of the relievers we brought in, we're simply shipping out some relievers back the other way. Mark Leiter Jr. has done well for us. He's controllable for the next few years, so that it helps out Miami there. They're basically losing a free agent to get some additional bullpen help there for the future. And then Andrew Chaffin, who we traded for earlier this year, just hasn't really turned out as well. Like I said, sometimes the ERA for relievers gets blown up in one or two bad innings of work, so that might be the case. He looks like he's actually been pitching decently for us with those 7 holds and 1 save, but I like Tyler Holton better, and Tim Hill has been fantastic for us since being called up. So I would like him over Chaffin in the playoffs there if we need to turn to him. So going to send Chaffin back the other way for Eugenio Suarez. Those guys immediately become the best relievers in this organization for Miami, and they're both under contract, or at least Chaffin's under contract for 1 more year, and Mark Leiter Jr. have control over for the next 3 years as well. So it gives Miami some flexibility there in a bullpen for a third baseman that they're not even going to have on the roster come next year. So with that trade, we are all set with our roster, with our team. Let's actually go through this roster together and make sure everything's set properly. It looks to see everybody is where they should be. Tyler Holton's in there now. We add Alex Lang into the back end of the bullpen. Like I said, catching-wise, we really didn't need Ben Rice there anymore. We can move up Carlos Navarez to AAA to help that out a little bit and bring up Wilson to AA, so they have a catcher there. First base, we actually are going to slide over Shenton into that first base position. It is already his backup position, but we're just going to make it a little bit easier on us to slide him over to first, make his third base the secondary position now. We'll take care of that. And now we have Shenton over there at first, Chisholm at second, Eugenio Suarez to play third, and Volpe there at short, with as well Peraza kind of being a utility infielder for us defensively. Riley Green slots in the left. We still have Bellinger in center and Judge in right. So let's go through these lineups together here with some of these changes and take a look at how deep this roster now becomes as a result. I think people are going to like this new look. Yankees, or at least, you'd hope they would like the new look Yankees here. Think we did all right, in my opinion, with what we're trying to build here and put together. So we swap some guys around here versus lefties. Boom. And we can just take care of this real quick. Will be Riley Green. This is non-DH, so I'm not really worried about it too much. Okay. So here versus righties, you get Riley Green at the top of the lineup to really help set the tone, getting on base a little bit better. Bellinger, Judge, Stanton, Chisholm, they kind of all stay the same. We can actually slide down Austin Wells a little to help with that right, left combination. Throwing Suarez there, we can, when Shenton comes back, everyone will just get slid down even more. Then go Wells, Volpe there now in an 8 spot, and then Shenton will take over at first base for Paul Goldschmidt once he returns from injury. Lefties, it should be pretty much the same. I don't think there's really any major adjustments we need to make there. Maybe Volpe can get slid up a little bit higher versus lefties there, as he has been hitting pretty well. But those are the trades we are going to make. I think they're pretty massive deals. I think they do help put us over the top a little bit better. We definitely look a lot stronger across the board there. And we'll see how it plays out. Let's just take a quick look at the pitching rotation to make sure we have all of this set up properly. Alex Lang slides in there quite nicely. And then, yeah, we can make some changes if needed across the board there. But let's take care of AAA and just getting in Carlos Narvaez there to catch, since we traded away Ben Rice there for AAA. I want to continue to grow Narvaez, as he's our top catching prospect now without Ben Rice in the system. So something to keep an eye on as we continue to progress through this franchise mode is how that, mainly the one with Detroit, of how that trade is going to play out, right? If we win the World Series this year, the win goes to us no matter what, right? You'd feel like it that way. But if we stumble in the playoffs maybe this year and the years to come, and Detroit, we match up against them in the future, and Jason Dominguez goes off on us, might not look as pretty. But anyways, those are the trades, and we're going to jump into this game versus Boston and get some gameplay. So here we are, one of the best rivalries in all of sports, Yankees, Red Sox, getting underway in a day game. And Judge gets a hold of a hanging slider, kiss it goodbye, 1-0 Yanks. And Eugenio Suarez, first look in the Yankee uniform. And what do you know? He leaves the yard in his first game in a Yankee uniform. Already paying dividends. Love to see it. As Goldie drives one to the gap, and it's going to get over the wall, preventing Volpe from scoring from first. But what do you know? It sets the table here for other newly acquired Riley Green to drive in a couple with 2 outs. What do you got, kid? As Green drives one into the opposite field gap, going to be a 2-run double. Another new face making his impact immediately in a Yankee uniform. More of that to come. Suarez drives another one. Is it going to have enough? No, it'll be off the top of the monster. A home run and a double in his first game. Doing big things already. Volpe drives one. Looks like this one's going to get off the monster there in left field. Bringing home Suarez. Easy double. 5-0 Yanks. Goldie rips one down the left field line. We're sending Volpe home, and it's enough. It's now 6-0 Yanks. Judge puts another one off the monster. Can we stretch it to 3? Give him a triple. He got there. Stanton puts a jolt in the 1 off the top of the monster. Going to be a long, long single. 7-0 Yankees. This one has been a rout. Suarez drives another one out to the gap. Going to score another run. Have yourself a game. Not in pinstripes, in the away unis. And Eugenio Suarez. Volpe drives one off the top of the monster and out. Make it 11-0 Yanks. Not much of a rivalry game here in Boston today. Judge hits another one, and it stays fair. His second homer of the game. All rise. 13 on the board. Turning into a football game in this one. And that'll do it. A complete game shutout by Garrett Cole. 14 strikeouts on the day. 4 home runs for your Yankees as they have won their first game since the trade deadline. Big days from Riley Green and Juanio Suarez doing their thing. The likes of which of Bellinger, Judge, Stanton, Volpe, all staying hot. This team looks poised for a deep playoff run. All right, we're back from that game. We're here. We signed the rest of our draft picks. Now it's time to look at some of the contract extensions and what this team might look like in the future. I know we have a big season that we're in right now, but as the GM, we always got to be looking ahead. So looks like a lot of guys are kind of on that either long-term deal like Cole, Judge, Rodon, Fried. You can kind of throw Stanton in that mix, or they're on a 2-1-year deal like Bellinger, LeMahieu, all the other one-year guys until some of them hit another couple of years of arbitration. So not worried about the younger guys that we still have under control. The big one that is going to be hitting free agency is Devin Williams out of our bullpen, which we have a lot of pieces in. But we did just trade for him in real life, but we did the same trade this time around. So would love to lock him in long-term as our closer. He's having a great year here, 29 saves on the year to a tune of 2.55 ERA. He's 29 years old. I think a solid 4-year deal for Devin Williams. See if we can lower it just a little bit to about $11 million per year. I think would be a great deal for him and establish a true closer at the back end of our bullpen that we haven't had since Mariano Rivera here. So we'll see if he accepts this, and he does. That's huge for us, signing him long-term. Now, Riley Green, it's a couple years left of arbitration. We could just lock him into that. We could go a couple years in to that deal and actually get him on a fairly decent priced contract there on 5-year deal, buy out the first 2 years of free agency. Okay, that's an option for us. Volpe similarly has a couple years of arbitration, actually the same timeline as Riley Green. Again, we could go kind of long-term with him and lock him up as our shortstop. Jazz Chisholm is struggling a little bit this year. He does have another year left of arbitration, so I don't think we necessarily want to go long-term with him. We'll probably give him that 1-year arb deal in the offseason. Alex Lang, again, we have control over Luke Weaver. I'm not too terribly concerned if he ends up walking, just because we did just extend Devin Williams to be our closer. Schmidt, Holton, everyone else kind of has control. Suarez, who we just picked up, kind of see how he does here in the pinstripes to close out the year. He had a great first game there, as you saw, triple away from the cycle. Really comes down to, do we want to extend Riley Green or Volpe right now based on our contracts, or we just try and make use of those 3 years? And to be honest, I would rather simulate through the postseason, not extend them now, see how they perform this year in the postseason. I might regret doing that. Their salaries might jump a lot, but that's the risk we take when we want to try and see who's going to be part of this team in the future down the line. So I'm okay with just advancing for now. We'll get to the next day so we can view our draft picks and kind of take a look across the league, as we like to do here in these early days, to see who snagged some good talent. So looks like we hit on 2 of our 3 starting pitchers there. Richie Pinheiro was our first rounder, I believe. B potential already 66 at 18. Really good stats across the board. That's a huge pickup for us to replenish some of our starting pitching there. Same thing with Arturo Alfonso. Same thing, B potential, a little bit worse overall and definitely older. So he might take a little bit longer to get going. Might be a trade asset for us. And Abraham Estrada, not horrible. Decent pickup there. Manuel Gomez looks to be a good catcher there as well. B potential, already really solid contact OBP ability and a good arm behind the plate. You love to see that at 18. So we really nailed our draft, if I'm being honest. Good speed outfielder, kind of the profile there. Probably won't turn into a whole lot. But, we have a stud catcher and 2 starting pitchers to build around there. That's a win in my book, especially some of the drafts we've had in the past. We'll take a quick look across the league, see if anybody got any amazing talent, any franchise type players to keep an eye on to build some stories around, as Pittsburgh adds another stud starting pitcher to their prospect pool. A lot of good starters there over there in Pittsburgh. Looks like the Cubs picked up a nice starter there as well. Couple of other guys. No one really jumping off the page yet. Here we go. Edgar Cabrera. I believe this guy was the first overall pick by the Marlins. A potential, 66 overall. Good power, good arm, decent speed. Going to be a solid outfielder for them in the future. No one really else jumping off the board. The Athletics pick up a stud pitcher there in Eric Newman. Rocco Thorman looks to be very good. Here we go. Here's a potential franchise player here. Rocco Thorman, starting pitcher, a potential 4-pitch mix. Already 75 overall at 21 years old. This guy will be in the bigs for them within a year or two. I'd bet maybe even next year, considering the Angels' lack of pitching usually there. So that's a nice pickup for them. They just signed Juan Soto in the offseason. So now they grab a nice pitcher, Ray Castilla, nice second baseman and center fielder here for the Royals. Scott Chavez looks to be a solid defensive catcher there in Detroit. Robbie Napick, there we go. There's another franchise-type player. Already 72 overall at 18 years of age, a potential. He's got all the tools, contact, OBP, rocket of an arm, shortstop, really good speed. That's kind of exactly what Cleveland likes to have there. So that's a great pickup. I actually want to take a look at this Rusty Borden guy. This is a guy we were debating on with our first overall pick. Just don't like to go relievers or closers that early, but good lefty arm, good velo. Going to be a good piece there, but I'm happy with our starter. Instead, Jim Marshall, I believe, was the White Sox first round pick, either second or third overall. This guy's already kind of major league ready as well with his speed and defensive ability there. So good pickup there by the White Sox. Looks like the Blue Jays got a couple of guys to round out. So that gives you a taste of what went down this year in the draft, kind of what's going on across the league a little bit. And we can just get back to the simulating now. Get to September call-ups. I believe Austin Shenton should be back in a couple of days. We can put Stanton on the injured list for right now. Luis Heel is back. That's big. Place him on the bench. And we got to send down a pitcher now. We got too many of them up in the system. Probably Ian Hamilton. Odd man out right there. Not having a horrible year, not having the best year either. So we'll slide him down, and we can actually get Luis Heel back into the rotation now. Where are you? Luis, get back into that 5 spot as Clark Schmidt's really owned that. Oops, that was Alex Lang. Owned that 4th spot in the rotation there. So we'll see how those two battle it out for that 5th spot. See if there's anybody else we would kind of want to throw in that long relief spot. We can just leave Ronnie there, and we'll keep on simulating. And we have to replace Stan. Forgot about that. DH, only a couple of games. Let's just let JD get a couple more ABs under his belt. He's been a decent depth piece for us this year with some of the injuries we had. Shelton's back. Place him on the bench. We'll actually just get him right into the lineup, into that DH spot. perfect timing. And once Stanton comes back, we can really take a look at these lineups and what we have to work with, as Yankees are winning a lot of games here. It's kind of what you would hope for and expect from this team. I believe we need to send somebody down now. And I believe it's going to be DJ LeMahieu. Sorry, buddy, but Father Time has caught up with you. There isn't really a spot in this lineup for him anymore. So Goldschmidt's actually swinging a hot bat right now. I'd hate to take him out of the lineup, but sometimes it's nice to have those pieces there when you need them. So he can come off the bench for now, and we'll actually just slide. Maybe we should slide Chisholm down a little since he's been struggling. Slide Suarez up. Wells. Maybe Wells can hit last. I do like Volpe resetting the table there. We'll leave it like this for right now. Maybe slide Volpe up so we get the left, right throughout the lineup there. So this gives you an idea of what we have for our lineup at its full potential going into the postseason. So a true leadoff hitter in Riley Green, Cody Bellinger having a phenomenal year here in pinstripes. You got Aaron Judge and Stanton cleaning things up. Austin Shenton has been phenomenal this year. Hopefully he can stay healthy to close out the year. Sliding over to first base, and Eugenio Suarez picked up at the deadline to play third. Chisholm there at second, Volpe at short, and Wells behind the dish. I mean, that's a pretty deep, consistent lineup. I mean, if you want to poke holes at it, maybe Suarez, maybe Chisholm in there, but they're going to give you good defense. They're going to complete everything across the lineup. So let's just make sure we get Shenton back in here along with Stanton and get those guys back in their respective positions. So, yeah, I mean, I love this team. I love what it's capable of. The starting pitching has been phenomenal all year long. We should expect that to continue here. Just have to stay healthy, really, is the only thing that might hold this team back from a true World Series or going on a deep postseason run here. We'll take a quick look at the standings once we get to the September call-ups here and take care of all the rosters and things like that. So here we are, September 1st. We still are first in the division, 80-56, although the Rays are only 3 games back. Looks like the Astros have taken over that 1 seed. So, yeah, like I said, it's kind of a dogfight there for that wild card spot. So we want to be careful we don't fall too far out of it. Need to be careful with that as things approach. And now it's call-ups, and do we bring up an additional outfielder defensively since we lost a couple of them? I think that would be helpful. I think Trent Grisham gives us the best defensive outfielder ability, so we'll bring him up to the MLB. We can bring up, let's see, we can call up Spencer Jones, can slide up to AAA there, kind of take over for Grisham. That'll be good. We can bring these guys up to AA. Actually, let's bring up the prospect. A little bit higher potential there for right now. We can bring them both up. And then I need to bring up one more guy. Should be a pitcher or DJ. We don't really need DJ. I don't really expect him to be a part of this team come the postseason. So let's bring up a pitcher. Let's see what Scott Efros can do as he's having a good year there in AAA. Maybe he goes on a run here at the major league level and is a part of our pitching staff come the playoffs. So that should take care of all that. We'll just let the computer figure out the minor league lineups as they get ready for the postseason there. We simulate a couple more weeks here. Take a quick look at the standings. Max Fried's hurt for a couple days. That's all right. Nothing long-term is all we need. Just place him on the bench right now. We'll take a look at the standings. So still in first in division. You like to see that. See if we can try and gun down that first spot So we have a series right here with the Astros and the Rays at home. Two big series here. The Royals are at 85 wins, Astros with 92. So, yeah, we need 2 of 3 here against Houston if we're going for that 1 seed. Win the first one, lose the second one, and Grisham, just keep him active. Lose the second one, 1-2. Alex Lang, did you blow that game for us? 8th inning, it wasn't really a blown lead, I would say. Where's pitching? Luis Heel, Mauricio, yeah. It's okay, it happens. So it looks like Houston will probably get that 1 seed here. Although, no. Okay, Max Free goes down for a little bit. We're just going to keep him active, put him on the bench. I don't want to run into that glitch where I can't use him in the playoffs. Really pisses me off when that happens. If anybody knows a way around that, please let me know. It'd be really helpful. So we get the last series here. So we definitely have our division locked up. Looks like we're going to end up with the 2 seed there behind the Astros. Everything's pretty much set there. So let's just get this over with. And there it is. The Yankees finish year 1 with a record of 97-65, just short of that 100-win mark, but very solid, complete team here. We do end up with the 2 seed, so we get a bye, which is what we were aiming for, getting into the dance there. So let's take a look at some of the league leaders here. Looks like Garrett Cole had a great year, and we'll actually take a look at the awards as well, since we didn't do a whole lot more in this video. Tee it up for the playoffs and see if we get any exciting storylines there. So Stephen Kwan continuing to do his thing with hitting title after hitting title. Cody Bellinger actually led the AL in doubles with 56, which is kind of insane. When you think about his totals being there in the 20s, what was his career high? 34 there in 2019. That may have been his MVP season, I think it was. But yeah, 56 doubles for Cody Bellinger. That is huge. Out of that 2 spot in our lineup, really sets a table there for Judge and the rest of the team. Keep going along here if we have anybody stand out. So Don led the league in homers. Judge with another casual 42 on the board. Love to see that. Looks like Houston's offense is a force to be reckoned with a lot of their staples still there. Looks like Bregman did re-sign with Houston. I was wondering why that contract never came up. He did stay there in Houston. Stephen Kwan, man. 342 average, a 435 OBP, 978 OPS. What a year for Stephen Kwan there. And the Guardians might be facing them in the playoffs this year. So keep an eye on that. Cano leading the league in saves. Devin Williams finished with 43. It's a very solid year for Devin Williams there. 2.56 ERA. Really happy we signed him long term. And there it is. There's that 1-2 punch at this top of your rotation. Garrett Cole and Max Fried. What a year for both of these guys. Cole may have won another Cy Young by the looks of it, but that'll be tough to match up, both with 5 complete game shutouts as well. That'll really help out your numbers there. Jack Flaherty actually leading the league in strikeouts. Interesting. Wouldn't have pegged him to win that one. Pause. So, yeah, that's kind of the big stats right there. We can take a quick look at the awards. I don't think we won anything massive. You can also take a look at kind of who won it all in this fake universe for 2024. So, see any silver sluggers. So, Cody Bellinger doesn't look like he's going to get his name on one. Judge gets one. Just misses out for Cody. But we have him for another year, so maybe he can grab one next year. It's a tough race there in the AL outfield. Yeah, a lot of Houston and Rangers players there. Stan got some votes at DH. Gold Glove. Looked like Judge had some votes in there. We're not really going to be known for our defense outside of Volpe, I would think, at short on this team. and he didn't even get any awards. So, yeah, not really a whole lot of hardware, but that's okay. Jason Dominguez, so, I mean, kind of our rookie of the year. We sent him over to Detroit. Looks like his numbers kind of stayed the same, but, I mean, if anyone thought that Detroit got robbed of that trade, they can point to having the rookie of the year and Jason Dominguez there now. They also have Alex Pennington, looks to be a star shortstop coming up in their system. So a lot of good young talent there in Detroit. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with in the years to come there for sure. So Cy Young actually went to Framber. Garrett Cole's not even in this conversation. Neither is Max Fried. That's pretty wild, although Framber, Grayrod, all at great years, and then Flaherty, the game loves the strikeouts, so makes sense. So maybe he'll take that with a little bit of a animosity going into the playoffs. Jordan wins back-to-back MVPs as a DH, and that's it. So that tees it up for the playoffs. No reason to look at who we're playing next because we don't know. It's between Cleveland and Baltimore there, coming to New York for the ALDS. So that'll put a wrap on this episode. We'll see you in the next one for the postseason run. Hopefully, it's a deep one. I expect big things from this Yankees team. We'll see you next time.